Greetings all and welcome back to Math in Anger. This is episode 34. We are still discussing parts of 1, how we read and write that. And in this episode we are looking at how to convert from fractions or mixed numbers to decimal numbers. Right, as you can see here, I've already gone and done my 8 times multiplication table in the work it out way. Please, people, if you do not already know what it is that I have done here or what I have done here, then you are trying to jump into the middle of this series without having gone through the steps. You will not understand. Please do these episodes one at a time in sequence. The purpose of this channel is to help you understand. It's not here to help you pass an exam that you're going to write tomorrow morning. For the rest of us that have actually followed the episodes, take a look at this scenario where we have our proper fraction, 1/8. Take a look at what I did. I went and wrote my product down. I added 5 zeros to it, and then I went and wrote my additive down, and I went and did the long division. Why do I say 5 zeros? Well, it's simple. When you're in school, when you're at school level, exams ask you round to the nearest 2 decimal digits. In other words, or they will say round to the nearest hundredth. And when you're in high school, they start saying round to 3 decimal digits or to the nearest thousandths. Yeah, right? And yeah, take a look at what I'm doing here. I'm actually calculating all the way up to that would be the tenths, the hundredths, the thousandths, 10,000ths, 100,000ths, right? So I'm going way beyond that. I'm going 2 decimal places further than they're going to ask you for. Right? The other thing is, in the real world, if you're doing woodworking or plumbing or mixing paint or that kind of thing, if you calculate beyond 1,000, then you're kind of going into overkill zone, because you're not getting a better product beyond that point. You're not getting a better finish. You're not getting a bit. It becomes overkill. So we're already 2 decimal points beyond that. Yes, if you go do things like engineering, etc., then yeah, you're going to have to be more precise than what we are being here. But by that time, you are very definitely allowed to use a calculator or even a computer. So what's the point? Why not just stick to 5 zeros and get the job done? Right, so here we go. As you can see, again, I took my product, wrote it down, slapped 5 zeros down. I took my additive, put that down, and I went and did the long division. Again, if you don't know what I've done here, go back to the episodes on long division. It's all explained there. Right, and now I can go and say, well, okay, that's my part of 1. So this decimal representation, the decimal representation of 1/8 will be 0.15. And yeah, I can go and add those extra zeros, but when writing decimal numbers, we typically stop at the last digit that is greater than 0. And then what happens if this is a mixed number? What if they do something like 7 and 1/8? Well, what would this be then? There you go. Because all you have to calculate is your part of 1. That's it. You don't have to calculate anything further. That is how you go from a mixed number to a decimal number. You're done. Job complete. Right. Let's take a look at what happens when they give you an improper fraction. So we just erase that and that. What happens when they give you an improper fraction and tell you to convert from an improper fraction like 9/8 to a decimal value? Pause the video, work it out for yourself. Because yeah, that's how you do it. You go and you go and calculate what your mixed number representation would be, and then you can just load it. Done. No problem. Right? And if you don't know what I did here, again, previous episode, because there I show you how to go from an improper fraction to a mixed number. Let's take a look at a scenario where you don't have one of something, you have more. Right? Let's take a look at this. Let's just put this over there for a moment. And then we'll take this and drag it over here. So there we have 3/8. And here again, I took my product, wrote it down, slapped 5 zeros onto it, took my additive, wrote it down, and I went and did the long division. So I can go and say, right, 0.375. There is the decimal representation of this proper fraction. What happens if you don't have, if you have that then? Well, there you go. You take your whole number part, write it down, and all you went and did is calculated the fractional part, and that's your decimal number. Let's take a look at an improper fraction, in this case 11/8. There again, we write it as a mixed number. This will be 1 3/8. And my decimal number, my decimal representation of that will be 1.375. Job done. Then let's take a look at something that is a little bit more real world, a little bit more annoying and frustrating for some of us. Let's put that over there and this over here. And let me go and fetch an example. Let's take a look at this. Right? Here we have 127/312. Yeah. And if you've been following along on these episodes, you will immediately know exactly what's going on here, because I went and calculated the times table for 312. I wrote down the product with 5 zeros, put my additive down, and went and did the long division. And there is my decimal representation for that fraction. And if I needed to round, there's my rounding. And if I had to round to thousands, then it would be 0.407. In school, they teach you how to do rounding, rounding up, rounding down. Take that information, put it in combination with this method, and you will pass those exams with ease. Right. There is one other thing that we need to look at with respect to converting to decimal numbers, and that is how to deal with repeating decimal digits. We will be doing that in the next episode, though. Right now, this was Math in Anger, episode 34. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.